Okay, today I'm going to install the interior heater for this car. And for those of you who don't know, the whole point of the interior heater in this case is that I'm living in a building where I don't have the home charging capability. So I have to charge the battery of the car elsewhere using commercial chargers. So if I want to preheat the car when it's cold, I need to use the drive battery of the car to power the air conditioning. And everyone realizes that that is not very efficient. It's like you're reducing your range by using it. And there is a way out of this, because we have heating poles here in Finland in almost every apartment building and housing. So you can preheat the car, so you don't have to use the main battery of the EV for heating the interior. So I have had these since the 90s in every car. The model has changed a couple of times between that, but this is one of the latest models, and it's a dual power unit, meaning that it has a lower and higher heating setting. Depending on the place where you need to plug the car into heating, you might be restricted as far as the current, so you can't use the full power. That's why this is really handy. And also these come in two variants. One of them has a normal European plug, but this one has the DEFA Termini mini socket, which I've had in 4 of my latest cars, the last 4 cars. It's a more compact plug. I will show you. So the dealership has installed me the cabling in the car, and this doesn't take much room. You can just put it inside the dashboard once you're finished. And the older models, they used to have like a Schuko socket inside the car in the footwell, and that is not really, I mean, it's ugly. And let's face it, if you don't need it, there's no point in using it. So yeah, I prefer this one. And this unit that I'm holding, it's like roughly 75 euros, depending on where you buy it, at least here in Finland. And these are, DEFA is a Norwegian company, but most of these are made in China anyway. But the quality control of DEFA is much better than for many of the other units that you see on the market, so that's why I've always used DEFA. And the electricity for this, it comes from the front of the car. So you see a socket here, and this is the one that is plugged into the heating pole using the lead that they give with the car. So yeah, let's get cracking. Now the set comes with instruction manual, which is basically the device is so simple you don't really need it. There's the device itself, and also there is a set of screws that you need for installing. And then this is really nice. The older models, they didn't used to have this, but then DEFA decided to use this template, which is shaped exactly like the heater. So once you find a good place for the heater, you can just use this template to make the holes. and then you don't have to carry the heater in your hands when you're making the holes. The bracket itself for the fixing, it's still here. You need to detach it for the fixing. So yeah, let's install. Thing you need to know is where to install the heater. Now, my previous car was exactly the same car as this one, a Citigo, but with petrol engine. So the center console is exactly the same. So I already know where to install this, but if you don't know, if you have never seen where to put it, the center console usually is the best place because this has thin plastic and there's usually nothing behind it. All the electrics, they go low down on the center tunnel or higher up inside the dashboard. So usually in here there's no electricity, so you don't have to worry about making holes. The main thing to worry about is not to cover these vents, so there's still airflow to the footwell. So when you're using aircon or heating in the winter, you still have sufficient airflow to the footwell. So this is the correct spot in this car to install it. Now the placement of the heater unit, like I said, it shouldn't cover these vents and it should be pointing upwards towards the ceiling, rear ceiling of the car, because of natural heat circulation. The hot air always goes up and then you get cold air from the floor. So you're heating the cold air and then pushing it up. Now the heater should be installed somewhere around here. And when you have the location sorted out, then you can use the cardboard template to actually make the holes. So I know roughly now where I'm going to put the heater. It's going to be around here. It's not too intrusive. And I'm just going to make the holes. Okay, so like I said, they made this cute template to mimic the heater. It's the same size. And you can use this for the installing. Now, like I said, I already know roughly where I'm going to put it. So I can see the air vent here. I don't want to block it. So that's as far as I want to go with the heater. And I'm making sure that there is plastic here where I can actually make the holes, and I don't want to make the holes here on this visible part of plastic. I'm going to use this one and this one. So I'm checking the holes, and the tools that I need for the job is like a sharp punching tool like this one for the soft plastic, and it really needs to be sharp so you don't have to use a lot of force. Then you just need a Phillips screwdriver for the fixing screws, and in this case I think I'm going to put one here, and you just mark it now. So when you take the cardboard out, you can see there's 3 fixing points marked, and this point has nothing between, so there's no wiring here. All the wires go down on the center tunnel and also inside the dashboard, but there's nothing here. But you need to make sure always before you make any holes. In some cars you can actually feel, you can put your hand behind the panel and you can see if there is anything there. On this car it's pretty much blocked, so you would need to take this off to see it. But in this case I already know, like I said, because the previous car had the heater in the same place. So now I'm just going to make holes, and this doesn't need to be through. You just make a starting hole that is like the sharp point goes through the plastic, but you don't want to make it too big so that the screws will hold on to the plastic. Okay, so now we have the starting holes. Then you just take all the screws. In this case I'm going to use 3 screws. On some cars, if you have more contoured center console, it has more bumps and things like that, you might need to use 4. But in this car I just used 3. And then you check which way the bracket goes. It goes like this. So you need to put it like this. It's like mirror image. And you check which holes you are going to use. It's this. Then you check if you need to use any of the these sets come with these rings. You can detach these. These are used for changing the angle and height of the bracket. So if there is a problem with the shape of the dashboard, you can always use these rings. You can snap them off. You can use them to adjust the height and position of the plate. But in this case, I would say that there is no need, because all the 3 points of contact, they are in contact with the plastic. So I think we are just going to use the screws. You position the screw with the hole and then you just screw it in. But you don't go all the way, because you will also need to position these rear ones. Okay. Okay, so now the bracket is installed. Now you need to check if it aligns with the heater. If this is bent in any way, you need to use these small rings to adjust the position in a way that it's not bent. In our case, it's straight, so that's it. That's the installing. Then you just plug it in, and then you can put the wire. There's a place here inside the dashboard where you can put the wire so that it doesn't come out. But that's it. That's all you need. I'm just going to fix this later. But that's pretty much it, the installing itself. And when the weather is warm, like now, of course we are not using the interior heater, so then you can just slide it out. So there's only the bracket here during summer. And then you can store the interior heater wherever you put it for summer. That's it. Hope this was a good video for you. So you understand what we have to do here in Finland and in a lot of other cold countries to survive the winter with an EV. So this was our small tutorial, and hope you enjoyed it. Hope this gave you a little bit more info on living with an EV in the colder countries. And see you again on the next video. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter.